I've been using Lightroom to edit my photos for years now, really ever since I started out in photography, and I always knew that there were other editing programs out there. However, Lightroom was the first one I ever tried and I just clicked with it right away. But today I wanted to try something new, step out of my comfort zone and edit a couple photos with a program that I have never ever tried, and that's Capture One. Also, you may have noticed this print in the background. I took this in Italy a few years ago of Mount Etna, and I thought it would look really cool hanging up on the wall. However, I don't have the mounting system or nails to actually hang it up, so I just taped it to the wall. So hopefully it doesn't fall down mid-video, but if it does, you know why. Anyway, the program we're gonna be using today is Capture One. If you've never heard of Capture One or you don't know what it is, it's another program just like Lightroom. However, I've actually seen this program being used more than Lightroom in the professional industry. If you head over to their, didn't even last a minute up there. If you wanted to try Capture One, you can head over to their website. There's a trial you can download. That's exactly what we're using today because I'm not gonna pay for a program that I might not like. Okay, so we're opening up Capture One 22. You have 30 days left in your trial. New catalog. I assume it's just like Lightroom. We're just gonna name this YouTube. What's template? No. And we'll just store it in our pictures folder. Sure. Click OK. Import images. We're gonna go to photos to edit. Review for import. Okay, so these are the photos we're gonna be working with today. This is a portrait I took of Lexi, photo of Fernanda, and a photo of Yaz and Serena that I took for their podcast. And we're gonna start with the photo of Lexi. I don't know if we're gonna get through editing all of them, but we'll start with this one and see how far we can go. Okay, I can already tell that it applied some sort of profile like Lightroom does, because if we go to our raw file, it actually looks different. Looks a lot more gray, kind of more on the greener side of the tint as opposed to the magenta side. So I don't know what it did exactly to the photo, but we're gonna see if we can find out. This looks a little bit more like how we took it. I don't know what's affecting the colors in our image. Okay. What if we just click auto adjust? Let's see what happens. We'll add white balance and contrast on here and just click auto adjust. I'm actually surprised the auto adjust feature made the photo look really good. Maybe if I add a little bit. Why is there two white balances here? We're gonna reset this one and we're gonna get to editing. So it seems like this tab that I have open right now is where all of our basic adjustments are, along with our curve, our vignetting, our dehaze, our clarity, and they also have another tab in here which is our levels. What's this one called? Color. This is like our color adjustments. So we have like our HSL tab, which is our color editor, and then we also have our color balance tab, which is identical to our color grading tab like we have in Lightroom. Okay, and then this is our sharpening tab, our noise reduction tab, film grain. Next, I guess this is our presets. I don't know what this is. And our metadata and our information tab. So with this photo here in Lightroom, I wouldn't have had to do this, but because we imported this in here and it added a lot of magenta, we're gonna actually take down some of this tint. A little bit to the green, not too much though. And then with our Kelvin or our white balance, we're going to actually just warm up this photo a little bit, and then we're just going to bring up our exposure a little bit here. Our contrast, I actually like dragging contrast down when I'm editing portraits, and then I'll go into our curves and add the contrast back in. Brightness, I don't know what that does differently than exposure, but Lightroom doesn't have a brightness slider. And our saturation we'll just leave it at 0 for now. Next is our high dynamic range tab. Okay, so this is our highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. This is actually giving us a lot more detail back in our highlights. I don't want to go too much or else she kind of gets lost in the background. So we'll just do about half. As for the shadows, I usually like bringing the shadows up. Again, I feel like this is giving us more range. We can pull up the shadows way more. And I know for a fact this is way more than we can in Lightroom. So with our shadows, we're just gonna bring this up just a tad bit, maybe to 15. Whites, I usually like dragging the whites down, but in this case, We're gonna bring them up a little bit, and then our blacks, we're just going to drop this down a little bit to create some kind of contrast. Next, we're gonna go over to our clarity, and if you watched my last video of how I edit portraits, I usually like to bring the clarity down in my photos, not too much, just enough to take that digital edge off of the photo. I don't want to take out the detail from her face either, so maybe we'll just go -10. Okay, now we're gonna go down to our curves, and we're gonna skip levels because I don't really know what I'm doing with that yet. In this case, I'm just gonna boost these shadows up a little bit. We're just gonna raise our black point here. I also like to drop our white point just a little bit. You can see if we go overboard how it looks in the window there, but I also don't like it pure white, so I just want to drop it a tad bit. Now we're gonna go over to our color tab, and we're going to make some adjustments in here. I usually like to go for kind of like this film look where I put the greenish yellows in the shadows, oranges into the midtones, and then drop some blue into the highlights. So we're gonna bring this over to the blue. I wanna bring some of that contrast in again because it kind of looks flat. Play with the levels adjustment because I feel like this might give us the contrast we want. So I kind of like that. It's just, I don't know what this is doing though. The curve tab actually has an RGB tab. This actually affects all the RGB together, which will give us that contrast we're looking for because it's affecting the colors as well. I think this looks good. Now with my portraits, I do like selecting everything other than my model and just dropping that clarity slider a little bit, not to make the background more blurrier, but again, to take off some of that sharpness in the background. So Capture One does have this draw mask feature, but I'm not going to paint in this entire background because it's just gonna take forever. People were saying that Magic Brush works really well for it, so we're just gonna use this. Okay, and we're just going to draw in the background here and see if the Magic Brush works. Let go there. How do I see the mask? Okay, I don't know how to view the mask, but if I change this, okay, it's affecting the mask, but how do I know what's the long press on the music keyboard shortcut M? Okay, so M on the keyboard is the shortcut for our mask. It didn't do that well of a job. Man, oh man, this is a headache. Delete this. We're back to normal. I assume this brush is just a regular draw mask. Let's try it. Let's do a quick mask around here. I wonder if I can invert it. Invert mask, okay. Erase this mask area here. We're just gonna drop down the clarity a little bit. Okay, so after editing portraits, the last and final thing I do is zoom in and remove any pimples or makeup blotches that are on the model's face. So to do that, we're going to use our remove spot tool. Just click on this. No, okay, it didn't remove this one. It seems like this tool doesn't work in a line. Like if I want to remove this line, it won't work. Draw healing mask and see how this works. There we go. We'll go back, we're gonna add some sharpening here. And lastly, I just wanna add some grain. This is a really nice grain. We have different types, silver rich, soft. Soft looks good too, cubic. We'll go with soft maybe. Just turn this down, 25. 15. Okay, so this is the final photo. I'm actually really happy with this photo because it looks very similar to the edited photo I had sent her after the shoot. This is the before and this is the after. Huge difference. We're actually gonna change this to split view slider and you can see, so this is the before and this is the after. So what I wanna try is creating a preset or copying these adjustments and drop them on a new photo like I would in Lightroom. Okay, so I guess they're called styles in here and it's under this here. You click here, save custom style, and click save. Go Lexi. Save. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and export these photos. We're gonna click on export at the top here. We want to export everything. So we're gonna select these, export, and export recipes. JPEG, a full size, highest quality. We'll go with. Okay, we can create our own recipe, which is pretty cool. I guess this is like presets, but export presets. Go JPEG. Quality 100, sRGB, color space, resolution 300, show all options. Oh, okay, we have more. What's this? Adjust sharpening. Usually in Lightroom, I will add like screen sharpening, it's called. For here, output sharpening for screen. Let's just go ahead and export these files. Export, output folder has not yet been chosen. Desktop, we're just gonna drop them in the same photos to edit folder. And these are the photos that we just edited. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on Capture One? Personally, I really enjoyed using it. Again, it's very difficult to go from a program you've been using for years and go to a new one and just know how to use it. There were a lot of things that were different, some things that Capture One has and Lightroom doesn't, and some things that Lightroom has and Capture One doesn't. The import process, all the adjustments, and the exporting process is pretty similar to Lightroom. Overall, both programs are pretty similar. I'd probably continue using Capture One until the end of the trial, but after that, I'll probably stick with Lightroom. Like I said, I've been using Lightroom for years now, and everything down to the keyboard shortcuts I've memorized, and having to learn something new is just so time consuming. But anyway, that's it for me today. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a comment, hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe to see more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.